join him. So Mr. Holston, if you would come to the well, bring your guests with you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
If you will place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and repeat after me, please. I, Hugh Holston,
I, Hugh Holston,
do solemnly and sincerely
do solemnly and sincerely
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
and maintain the Constitution
and maintain the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and laws of the state of North Carolina,
of the Constitution of the State of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as a member of the City Council
as a member of the City Council
of the City of Greensboro, North Carolina,
of the City of Greensboro, North Carolina,
according to law
according to law
and according to the best of my skill and ability.
and according to the best of my skill and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations again, sir.
Thank you.
We would like to officially welcome Mr. Holston. And Mr. Holston, if you have some words.
I'll say again, thank you for the honor of serving the city of Greensboro, the residents of all the districts. I'm looking forward to the opportunity, looking forward to the energy and the excitement that I've already heard from the members of council and members of staff, and just excited to get going. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank your family for attending. I know that they've traveled a distance from Raleigh and Charlotte, and we're happy to have them here and take part of this ceremony.
Absolutely. Love you.
So I'd like to say welcome back to the Katie Dorset Council Chamber, but I think it's the first time that we've actually officially met under the new name, and it has been noticed outside and it looks beautiful coming in. So again, welcome to the Katie Dorset Council Chamber. Tonight's meeting is a partial opening of the Council Chamber with a continued option to participate virtually. Due to capacity restrictions, a limited number of residents are allowed inside the council chamber for specific items of interest. Following the conclusion of items or topic of discussion, residents will be asked to leave to allow room for other residents to enter the chamber. Due to the Guilford County indoor mask mandate, all attendees will be required to wear masks, and I do have mine right here. It's just easier to hear me with it when I take it off. In the interest of safety, public forum and agenda items speakers will have two options to register to speak before council. Residents may continue to register via the JOT form on the city website by 5 p.m. the day prior to council meeting, or residents may sign up to speak by 6:15 the day of the meeting using the QMinder kiosk just outside the chamber door. Please see our community relations manager, Gary Campino, at the courier desk for assistance. Council procedures for the meeting: to comply with requirements by the state in regards to Zoom meetings and to provide an optimum experience for the public, council will verbalize motions on all votes, and it will be conducted by roll call vote. Council will also implement an electronic voting method using our new eScribe agenda management platform. Each member of council must vote unless there is a direct conflict. We do allow and welcome speakers to address council at the public forum meeting. Council respects the right for the public to speak about matters of concerns that can be addressed by council. Each speaker will be allotted 3 minutes. Comments that seem to be intended to incite unlawful behavior will be deemed out of order. Zoom participants are requested to mute their microphones until they are called upon to speak. The City of Greensboro is committed to promoting an environment that is free of discrimination, bias, and bullying. Thus, harassment, words, jokes, actions, or comments based on an individual's sex, sexual orientation, race, ethnic background, age, religion, physical condition, or other legally protected characteristic will not be tolerated. In order to be considered, written comments must be submitted online through the city's website at www.greensboro-nc.gov. We have a consent agenda for items G1 through G8, which are a grouping of agenda items that are voted on with one single vote to expedite what are believed to be routine and non-controversial items. Any council member may withdraw an item from the consent agenda due to a conflict of interest or for the purpose of voting no. Items removed from the consent agenda for discussion will be placed on the November City Council business agenda. This meeting does include closed captioning. Depending on the length of tonight's meeting, we will take a short recess around 7:30. This is now time for our ceremonial or presentation items. Item number 1 is a resolution honoring the memory of the late Walter T. Johnson, Jr., and that will be read by Mrs. Hightower. Mrs. Johnson, if you would like to stay here with us, that would be great. If you want to join your family, that is up to you too. Okay. Mrs. Hightower?
Thank you. If the Johnson family wants to come forward as I read, and then I'll present the resolution. Do I have the resolution to present to them? Or did y'all still leave it? I didn't see it. So if you all want to come forward anyway, that's fine. Resolution honoring the memory of the late Walter T. Johnson, Jr. Whereas on July 24th, 2021, this community lost one of its outstanding community leaders with the passing of the late Walter Daniel Johnson, Jr. Whereas Mr. Johnson, a native of Greensboro, North Carolina, graduated from James B. Dudley High School and matriculated to North Carolina Agricultural and Technical College, now North Carolina A&T State University, where he served as student body president and in the Reserve Officer Training Corps, ROTC, and graduated with a degree in engineering physics. Whereas following his college career, Mr. Johnson served in the United States Air Force, USAF, but deferred service in order to enroll and become the first African-American student to enroll in Duke University School of Law in 1961. Whereas following law school, Mr. Johnson returned to the United States Air Force as captain in the Uniformed Services Justice and Advisory Group, USJAG Corp. In Newburgh, New York. Whereas after serving his country, he began his career back in his hometown of Greensboro, North Carolina, as a solicitor, now known as an assistant district attorney. Whereas Mr. Johnson was a pioneer who left a profound imprint in the community, the first African-American chairman of the Greensboro Public School Board in 1974, worked as an adjunct professor at Duke University Law School and North Carolina Central School of Law, and held membership with the Black Lawyers Association, Greensboro Bar Association, Academy of Trial Lawyers, and the Inmate Grievance Committee. Whereas in 1980, Governor Jim Hunt appointed Mr. Johnson to serve as the first African-American chairman of the North Carolina Parole Commission. Whereas as a lifelong member of Providence Baptist Church, Mr. Johnson served several terms on the Board of Trustees and as the attorney for the church was a member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated for over 60 years, the Greensboro Sports Council, the Greensboro Men's Club, the Sigma Phi Phi Fraternity, Boule, the University of North Carolina Greensboro Board of Trustees, the Gold Helmet Club, the Dudley Alumni Association, the North Carolina A&T Alumni Association, the Greensboro Planning Commission, was a proud male participant known as a driftwood of the Greensboro chapter of the Drifters Incorporated, established by his wife, Yvonne Johnson, in 1972, and many other organizations. Whereas he was a founding member of Barjow Chemicals Incorporated and built affordable housing in Northeast Greensboro. Whereas Mr. Johnson frequented Hayes Taylor YMCA to work out, had a love of books, and supported not only North Carolina A&T athletics, but most importantly, anything involving his family. Whereas Mr. Johnson's achievements as a trailblazer will be remembered along with his infectious smile and laughter, an enduring love of family, and a character that garnered respect and admiration from friends. And now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Greensboro that the City Council wishes to express its condolences and offer its sincere appreciation and gratitude for his many years of dedicated service. His legacy will be remembered by the outstanding contributions he has made to the community, and that a copy of this resolution shall be delivered to the family of the late Walter T. Johnson Jr. as a symbol of the gratitude of the people of Greensboro.
Move the resolution.
Second.
So that has been moved and seconded. I believe that was moved by Ms. Abuzuaiter and seconded by Dr. Wells. Council, please vote. And mine is not. In the meantime, we will take a voice vote. Mrs. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Holston,
Yes.
Dr. Wells, Mrs. Johnson. I am a yes. Mrs. Abuzuaiter.
Yes.
Mr. Outling,
Yes.
Mrs. Thurm,
Yes.
and Mrs. Hightower.
Yes.
And that passes 9-0. Sharon, would you like to give that to the family?
Well, I don't see our resolution. Where is it? Did
The
you?
formal
I will
copy?
provide an official copy for the family.
So we will, but if you want to come forward and speak, you're certainly welcome to say words at the podium. Someone, let me tell you something, your father had a lot of accomplishments. There's no way you can be quiet. To have read all of that and to know what he done and what he left behind is outstanding. I was so impressed when I read everything he did. I'm telling you, and so as a resident of the city of Greensboro and a Black citizen, I'm thankful for his accomplishments to this community and what he stood for. He certainly is a trailblazer that I don't think many of us can ever live up to. So,
Good evening. My name is Lisa Johnson Tompkins, City of Greensboro, I think 802 Ross Avenue. And I am the daughter of Yvonne and Walter Johnson. And on behalf of our family, we just thank you for the kind words. And my father was a wonderful father, a wonderful husband, a wonderful grandparent, and I would say an outstanding member of this community. And he loved Greensboro, and he loved his wife and his children and his grandchildren. And so I just want to say thank you.
Sharon, thank you so much for that. You know, I've been here a long time and I've read a lot of resolutions, and you never think about the person that you have lived your lifelong partners, that you would be hearing that. But I do appreciate it, and I appreciate my family coming. And thank you, council. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yvonne, I want to thank you for sharing Walter with us. I want to thank the family for sharing their dad, their grandfather. One of the most moving experiences I had was at his funeral. And to hear his children and his grandchildren really speak of such love and admiration of their grandfather, their father. And I know I left wanting to be a better person because of the legacy he left, not only to the city, but more importantly, the legacy he left to his family. Dr. Wells, your microphone.
I met them when they were dating, and so I've known them for a long time. And we're also neighbors. They're right up the street from each other. But Mr. Johnson was a trailblazer. I remember when he was chairman of the school board. I remember when he was doing other things that African Americans were not doing, being the first to go to the law school, and just many things. I always think of them as a power couple, because both of them have done so many outstanding things. So Yvonne, I know it must hurt, but we want to let you know how much we honor and think of your husband.
Thank you.
And the children. We were all impressed at the funeral, the wonderful things that they said about their father. It just made all of us say, we want to be better parents so that our children will have that legacy that he left. So thanks for allowing him to serve Greensboro.
You know, Madam Mayor, I just wanted to say, the first couple of times I met Walter, I was just truly, truly impressed by his chivalry, the way he spoke to everyone. When he spoke to you, you felt like you were a very special person. And that really meant a lot. That's a talent that many don't have. And over the years, got to know him a little better through Yvonne and the family. And, you know, he just leaves a legacy in each one of them that you know, it can never be, I don't know. It just is something that living on through them, his legacy will live on. So thank you for sharing him with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to item number 2, honoring the memory of the late Gladys Fox Shipman. Dr. Wells?
Resolution honoring the memory of the late Gladys Falk Shipman. Whereas on September 13th, 2021, this community lost one of its outstanding community leaders with the passing of the late Gladys Falk Shipman. Whereas Mrs. Shipman, born and raised in Greensboro, started a family in 1960 at the age of 15, proceeded to continue her education and graduated from James B. Dudley High School in 1963. Whereas in her fight to end racial injustice and gender inequality, Mrs. Shipman participated in the Woolworth segregated lunch counter protests in her youth, and later employed workers in her company needing a second chance in life. Whereas Ms. Shipman lived a life of service to the community, dedicated her life to her faith, and was a long life member of New Light Missionary Baptist Church. Whereas working as a home health aide, she saw an opportunity to purchase and grow a small home care company, established several offices throughout the state, and grew the company into the largest minority-owned home care industry in North Carolina. Whereas Mrs. Shipman served as president and chief executive officer of Shipman Family Life Care Incorporated, employed thousands from the community and cared for underserved elderly and disabled residents across the state of North Carolina.
Whereas she lived a life of advocacy in both Greensboro and throughout North Carolina, served as the first woman vice president of the North Carolina chapter of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the first woman president of the NAACP Greensboro chapter, with a two-time winner of the NAACP Mother of the Year Award, board member and founder of the International Civil Rights Center and Museum, was the recipient of the Civil Rights Advocacy Training Institute, the Mega W. Evers Award, the Austin Jones International Civil and Human Rights Award, and the Greensboro Sit-In Gala Unsung Hero Award, the recipient of the North Carolina A&T State University Hall of Fame, Honorary Award of Excellence, the James B. Dudley High School Hall of Distinction, the Greensboro Chamber of Commerce Women in Business Award, McDonald's African American Achievement Entrepreneur Award, the ECPI College of Technology Humanitarian Award, and received many other recognitions and awards. Now therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Greensboro that the City Council wishes to express its sense of loss and offer its condolence, sincere appreciation and gratitude for the many years of dedicated public service by Gladys Fawkes Shipman. The legacy she leaves will be remembered by the people of Greensboro, and that a copy of this resolution shall be delivered to the family of the late Gladys Fawkes Shipman as a symbol of the gratitude of the residents of this city, the city of Greensboro and the state of North Carolina, for her many contributions to this community and beyond. I don't know if any of her children are here. Portia did call me. Are any of them here? Okay, good. You can accept it. Well, we don't have an official one tonight, but you will get it. But you could come forward and say some words. Portia did call and she's out of town and couldn't get back, but she said her sister might be
So
here.
move the resolution. Move the resolution.
Second.
Yes.
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 Thank you. My name is Treva Shipman McIntyre. I'm my mama's last of 6, and very proud and honored to be here today. I'd like to thank you all for the achievements that you called out and honoring her today with the resolution. We are all 3 very proud. I have my baby brother Archie Shipman and my oldest brother Albert Shipman Jr. and my mom's first cousin Nancy Wissett. We stand here and a host of grandchildren and office staff, you know, Shipman Family Care. We're in the house. We're wearing our memory, in memory of Gladys Shipman shirt that we made, my son made a couple of weeks ago. And we just stand, and every day we are in honor of her when we open those doors to serve the community. We want to make her proud because she's made us proud. And we're thankful that we're here again today. Anybody else want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm Ms. Shipman's firstborn and I'm first employee. And cook. Hightower knows. I just want to thank y'all so very much. That y'all remember some of the things my mom has done. And some of the things we're going to continue to do. We're going to continue to do it. We're going to try to educate and get people certified and get them working and do the best we know how to do. That's what she wants us to do. Thank you so very much.
All right.
I'm honored to be here for my cousin's sister, because she was just like a sister to me. And everything that I know about caregiving, she taught me. And the song say, "Give me my flowers while you live." She passed out a lot of flowers while she lived. To regardless of your race or what, she passed out flowers, which is the love that she had for the community, family, and friends. And also it say, "Let your work speak for me." I can truly say that I watched my cousin. I'm 68 years old, but I watched my cousin let the work she was doing speak for her. And I just thank y'all for giving her the honor that she deserves and work for, and continue to pray for the family and give us strength to carry on.
Thank you, thank you. Thank y'all.
I remember when I ran for mayor and Miss Shipman came, and I think it's the first check I ever got for $1,000, about fell out. But she was a great supporter. She encouraged me and just offered whatever I can do if you need me to do anything. And I was always grateful for her support and what she did in this community. I mean, she gave a lot of people work, a lot of people jobs, made it possible for people to take care of their families. So I honor her. And I thank you all for being here, because she is truly worthy of being honored.
And
Amen.
I served with Mrs. Shipman on the Simpkins PAC. And that was my first encounter with her. She always had a jovial, she liked to live big. I really enjoyed her for that. When I read all of the things that she had accomplished, and thinking that she started a family and didn't let that stop her, and then took advantage of the opportunity to take that small business and make it a major industry in North Carolina. I'm truly impressed. As a woman, she was a strong woman, and you should be proud. Just seeing all of you here in the green t-shirts lets us know that she touched your life. And so we're glad that Gladys Shipman was a part of the city of Greensboro.
So I would just like to say, Ms. Shipman, she was a character, and y'all know. I served under her when she was the NAACP president here. And sometimes we bump heads. And she said, "Sharon, you ain't gonna tell me." And we would, and I say, "Yes, ma'am," of course. But I'm very appreciative of how she loved this community, and she served this community. And I'll tell you, one thing when I first got on council and I was talking to the chamber and they were talking, and I said, what kind of businesses are you all supporting and in my community? And they showed me this book, and Ms. Shipman wasn't in it. And I said, "Well, do you know about Shipman Family Care?" I said, "Right down the street," and she all over the state. So we have a gym right here in our community that's hiring and doing good things. And pointed that out, because sometimes people don't get the recognition they deserve because of where they are. And it's up to us to ensure that that happens. So I'm very proud to know Ms. Shipman. I'm gonna miss her in the parade in her Cadillac. She liked the style. And so it certainly was good to see her every MLK parade with the trail of Cadillacs behind her. That was her signature. But I know she had a big heart, and so she will be missed. So thank you.
Thank you. Item number 3 is a resolution declaring Saturday, November 27th, 2021 as Small Business Saturday in the city of Greensboro. And it is so hard to believe that we are talking about November and the holidays already. This year seems like it has flown by, even with all of the challenges that we had. Whereas the city of Greensboro celebrates Small Business Saturday, a day to support diverse, independently owned local businesses that help create jobs, boost the economy, and keep Greensboro thriving. Whereas supporting independently owned local businesses demonstrates a conscious commitment to our economy, creates goodwill within Greensboro, and helps to create jobs for local communities to preserve their unique culture. Whereas elected officials in all 50 states, including other United States territories, advocated for Small Business Saturday. Consumers across the United States spent a record high total of approximately $19.8 billion in 2020 at independent retailers and restaurants on Small Business Saturday. An average of 67 cents of every dollar stays in the local economy. Whereas according to 2020 Small Business Saturday Consumer Insight Survey, 97% of shoppers recognize the positive impact of shopping small, and 85% of them reported they encouraged friends and family to do so. Whereas the city of Greensboro works closely with President Zach Matheny of Downtown Greensboro Incorporated to aid our small business owners so that they can not only survive the effects of the pandemic, but to thrive with new initiatives such as Open Streets, Friday Night Live, outdoor dining, Retail Revitalization Grant, and Rebuilding Greensboro program, and numerous other outdoor community events. Whereas shopping locally will support business owners, neighbors, and friends, our city's infrastructure, and will increase financial security for business owners that are struggling through the pandemic and ensuing monetary losses. Whereas the city of Greensboro passed a resolution adopting the City of Greensboro local preference policy for certain types of city contracts to ensure the best overall value in the procurement of goods and services. Whereas the city of Greensboro wishes to offer support to local business members to drive economic growth, to create jobs and boost the local economy. Whereas advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Greensboro that the Greensboro City Council hereby declares Saturday, November 27th, 2021 as Small Business Saturday, and urges the residents of the community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday on that day and throughout the year.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Johnson, seconded by Ms. Abuzuaiter. Council, please vote, and we will take a voice vote as yes. I am a yes. Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Abuzuaiter?
Yes.
Mrs. Hightower?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Holston?
Yes.
Mr. Outling?
Yes.
Mrs. Thurm?
Yes.
And Dr. Wells?
Yes.
And that does pass 9-0. Madam Clerk, do we have Ms. Wu on the phone, on the call?
No, ma'am, she has not joined the meeting.
Okay, we will make sure that we get it to her. And Small Business Saturday is also known as Shop Small. And it is great that we have such a wide array of businesses that we can support here in the city of Greensboro, not only downtown, but throughout the city. And so as you're thinking of your purchases, please keep in mind our local small businesses who have really shouldered a big burden throughout the pandemic. Any other? Then we will move on to item number 4, which is recognizing November 19th, 2021 as International Men's Day and November 2021 as International Men's Month. Mrs. Johnson?
Yes, Mr. Roser, you can come up and whereas an idea developed in the early 1990s to tackle gender inequality and focus on inclusion and appreciation between men, women, and children. Whereas to build an awareness that the role of men in our lives affects our relationships, marriages, youth, families, and communities. Whereas a time to reflect on the educational, political, social, technological, scientific, athletic, religious, and economic contributions men have made to society. Whereas the need to focus on progressive and positive interactions with women and children, along with strengthening our neighborhoods, schools, and places of worship. Whereas the opportunity to advance the dialogue of unemployment, sexual abuse, drug and alcohol dependency, lack of education, domestic violence, and mental instability. Whereas this day is celebrated in over 80 countries. Whereas the 6 pillars include: 1, focusing on men's and boys' health; 2, improving gender relations and gender equality; 3, promoting healing and forgiveness; 4, highlighting male role models; 5, improving men's role in the community, family, relationships, and childcare; and 6, promoting basic humanitarian values. Whereas the City Council, on behalf of the citizens of Greensboro, wishes to recognize November 19th, 2021 as International Men's Day, and November 2021 to be recognized as International Men's Month. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Greensboro that the City of Greensboro recognizes Thursday, November the 19th, 2021 as International Men's Day, and November 2021 as International Men's Month.
Move the item.
Moved by Mrs. Hightower, seconded by Dr. Wells. Council, please vote. And for the record, I am a yes. Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Abuzuaiter?
Yes.
Mrs. Hightower?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Holston?
Yes.
Mr. Outling?
Yes.
Mrs. Thurm?
Yes.
And Dr. Wells?
Yes.
And that passes 9-0.
Mayor Vaughn, Mr. James Rosa we started the Rosa Foundation. I'm a board member of that foundation. And he's here to speak on behalf of this resolution.
Mr.
Good
Rosa?
evening. My name is James Rosa, Executive Director and co-founder of the Rosa Foundation. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is very important to us. In our community, men are not being recognized. Men that are making positive changes in our community are not being recognized. And I feel that it is my duty to do that. And this is to dedicate all the men in our community that are making positive changes. Fathers, grandfathers, uncles, stepfathers that are stepping up to the plate to help our youth in our community, our wives, mothers. We usually have an award ceremony, but this year we are postponing it because of COVID. We're going to have it next year, March 5th at the Grand Over. And I want to say thank you to Mayor Pro Tem Mrs. Johnson for allowing us to name one of the awards after her late husband, Walter T. Johnson Jr., and it's called the Walter T. Johnson Jr. Award of Excellence. That's going to be our highest award in this award ceremony, and we also going to be giving out 2 $1,000 scholarships for the performing arts at this ceremony. And again, we just want to, on behalf of the Rosa Foundation, we want to thank you.
Thank you. And I want to thank you for all the hard work that you've been doing throughout our economy, especially in the last 18 months when it's been so terribly difficult. We appreciate all you do. So that is the end of our resolutions. And I do want to take the prerogative of the chair and ask the police chief to come up and speak. I had asked him if he could talk about this past weekend. As we all know, it was an especially difficult weekend. And I thought it would be appropriate for the chief to address.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. We certainly had a challenging weekend. As I was up late last night, I was reminded when I was watching a local news station, and for the first approximately 6 or 7 minutes. They went over all the incidents that we had over this previous weekend. Just to refresh everybody's memory, we had a shooting on Randolph Avenue. We had a homicide on Edwards Road where a man was found deceased in the roadway. We had another shooting on Clifton Road. That individual is currently in critical condition. We had a double homicide in the area of Bryce Street near Warren Street. We had a shooting on Gate City Boulevard. We had another shooting on Wendover Avenue. And we had a stabbing on Martin Luther King Drive at Julian Street. And about a week ago, another young man, 20 years old, was found deceased in the area of Holden and Gate City Boulevard in that general area. So in the last week, we've had 4 homicides. And as I was coming up here, you know, it's really hard to put everything in context and to try to make some sense of it. But I remember in July of last year, July 7th to be exact, we sounded the alarm and said we have an issue with violent crime. And we had 7 homicides in 7 days. Late last year, we sounded the alarm again, and some on council stood with us as we did a press conference to bring attention to it again. And we, at that time, we were in the high 50s. I can't remember the exact number, but my point is this: we had a record homicide year last year. We ended up with 63 homicides for the year. I did a violent crime presentation a few months ago. At that time, we were trending in a better direction, although we did have some violent crime. And we were significantly down in homicides. At this point, we are at 45 homicides for the year. Last year, this time, we were at 46 homicides. So we are trending in the same unfortunate direction. I talked about a lot of things that we were doing within the police department, which included a violent crime strategy. To some degree, some of those things have worked, but as we all know, that policing is certainly not the ultimate solution to figure out this violent crime picture. As of this date, we've actually taken 1,542 guns off the street, which is a 60% increase from where we were last year. Last year, we were just over 900 guns. So we are doing some things that are getting the guns off the street, but the guns are still here and they're still being used. A lot of times we hit the reset button when the year starts over. We were at 63 last year. Everybody was like, let's skip to 2021. You know, it kind of hits the reset button. Well, the thing is, you really can't hit the reset button for these families that have lost loved ones. And I know all of you on council have spoken with families who have suffered personal loss. But I'm not going to hit the reset button over the last 20 months that I've been the police chief. Since January 1 of last year, we've had 108 homicides in Greensboro. We've had 108 total. And all of those lives were valuable, especially to their families. But one statistic, and I don't have it completely broken down, but one thing I want to make you aware of is that 91 of the 108 victims were African American. And most of them look like me. That's the only way I can put it in context. And it lets you know that there's something going on in our community and communities all across the country. But right here, there's something going on in our community that we don't know how to fix right now. We're going to keep doing police work, obviously, and we're going to try to staff up our agency. Obviously, everyone knows we're operating with some vacancies right now, and we are doing some things to try to mitigate that. But at the same time, when these things come up, oftentimes we want to have a conversation. The conversation is good, but I'll be honest with you, I've had a lot of conversations with people and nothing has come out of those conversations. And we need to look as a city, from whatever position you're in, we need to look as a city and determine what is it that we can do different? And I'm not talking about what we can do different in 2022. I'm talking about what we can do different this week, tomorrow, later today, whatever makes sense. But what I'm saying is that we've got to go out and take some actionable steps. People that pick up guns to solve their solutions, it didn't just start today whenever they picked up the gun. There's something happening early on in society, in our community, that causes people to pick up guns. And we've got to figure out something that we can do differently to try to solve this. And we've got to figure out a way to work together on this. And we've also got to look at how is it that we can influence other bodies, whether that's state or federal, because certainly there's a gun issue. I just said we've had a record year this year, 1,542 guns. We've never taken that many guns off the street, and the year is not done yet. And they're still coming into the community. So as we look at this, I've talked about police strategies. I've also talked about things going on in the community around resources and.
What is it?
I assume that's a fire.
Fire alarm.
Well, should we get out of here?
I think
I think we have to. Thank you. We're gonna have to, yeah, we'll come back. That's all right.
Mayor, I'm asking you to declare a recess, please.
motion to recess. By acclamation, yes.